It's great to have you in the course. How's everything been going for you so far?
Not bad. Yeah, trying to get back into things because I took a bit of a break after I took the August LSAT. So I took a few days and now I'm like back into it, trying to like get as much done, like balance it with schoolwork, and things like that. But yeah, not bad so far.
Fantastic. Great to hear. So what would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing right now in terms of getting started?
Yeah, so the thing is like I really did not expect to get such low scores. I wasn't expecting like to be putting in as much work in to the like November LSAT, and I was scoring a lot higher than I did in the actual LSAT flex that I took. Like some of the tests that I was taking, I was getting like low 160s, and I did get like a 163 in one of them. And then in the actual LSAT, I got 150. So I was like very shocked by that. But then I do know that like LR is my strongest section. I get usually like a -3 or -4. But then like that's kind of it takes away because I do really badly on the logic game. Like that's my weakness. And I've noticed like I draw everything the way it is supposed to be, but I just can't make the inferences. Like that's my problem. Like can't get past when I diagram it and like I figure things out like how where to put what. Like I cannot make the inferences. Or like I take too much time making them and then I run out of time. So I think it's just like getting my speed up to like seeing those inferences right away.
Right, right. How have you ever done a deconstruction drill for logic games where you do only the setups without doing the questions?
No. I
I
have
would recommend trying that out. What basically the way it works is that you do several games of a particular type, only the setups, not any of the questions. And you practice simply making inferences to get
okay.
better at making inferences. So you complete the games, just the setups, and then you can watch the explanation videos if you want to see how I set it up and how that might differ or how I might have gone farther in terms of the inferences. You don't have to make them every single time, as far as I do,
Mhm.
but at least being able to understand the process of
Yeah.
methodically, systematically making them could
Yeah.
help you speed up over time.
Okay, so you make as many inferences as possible without like looking at the questions.
Exactly. So a
Right.
bunch of games, just the setups. Later,
Okay.
of course, you could do the questions and you should, but the point of this drill in particular is simply to see what are the inferences within the game itself. Because, of course, many of the questions are going to involve seeing could you make those inferences?
Yeah.
Especially the general global must be true questions, and then inference, then the local questions where they say if X is on 3, then what else happens?
Mhm.
That in a way is yet another inference. It's simply a more specific one based on a particular question only. But
Okay.
that process, combining information, seeing the results, then looking is what you'll be doing on test day as well.
Okay. All right. That helps a lot. I will do those. And yeah, in terms of like exam day, like what can I do to make sure that my score is like what I've been scoring on practice tests? Like how do I prepare for that?
Certainly, yeah. So LSAT test day drops, like what you experienced, typically result from two things. One is nerves and anxiety. The others is simulating test day fully. So
Right.
nerves and anxiety, I recommend meditation, mindfulness, focus training. Even just a few minutes a day can make an enormous difference. Have you ever tried that out before?
No, but I've been thinking about it, like meditation and things like that. I think it will help. So I should get started on that.
Okay, well, do you have 5 minutes between now and when we meet in class tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern?
Yes.
Okay, so take 5 minutes and just do it. Just
Okay.
do it just 5 minutes. If 5 minutes is too much, do three. If three is
Okay.
too much, do one. One
Yeah.
minute, just mindfulness. I've got videos inside the course on this. I even invited a yoga instructor to do some yoga and meditation classes, and
Mhm.
she's generously donated her time to the course. And so I have them in the course. I also have some on my YouTube channel as well in the meditation playlist.
Right.
And you could do those if you want more, but even just a minute of focusing on your breath
Yeah.
makes an enormous difference over time because it trains your mind to focus, to notice when your mind wanders and bring it back to the task at hand. And so if you encounter a kind of spiral where you're worrying about the question you just did that you didn't fully
Yeah.
get it, and then you're like moving on to question 17 when question 16 is still eating you up because you think maybe I got it right, maybe I didn't, and you're still kind of playing it out. You
Yeah.
want to be able to move away from that. And that's a muscle you can strengthen.
Okay. All
Other
right.
thing, yeah, go ahead, please.
In terms of like practicing, like do you think that like how often should I do a full length practice test or should I like focus on logic games and just do like time sections?
Well,
Like
your target test date is November.
yes, yeah.
Okay. And so what are your other obligations between now and then?
It's just schoolwork. Like I'm taking 5 classes, so it's just that like midterms are coming up. But it's not like my classes aren't too hard. So I do have like 4 hours a day for LSAT.
Nice. So then in that case, I would suggest doing 2 exams a week
Okay.
along with detailed review of those exams, because 2 flex exams is shorter than doing 2 5-section exams. So if it were the regular LSAT, I might say only 1 exam a week, but since
Mhm.
flexes are only 3 sections, I think 2 is doable.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I think I did wrong last time is I didn't do an in-depth review. Like I'd do it, like I'd see what I got wrong, and then I'd look at the right answer. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense, and then move on. Because I wanted to get as many questions in, but like you said, I think I need to do an in-depth review. Like that's
Yeah,
what
and I talked about that for logic games a little bit with just doing the setups as a
yeah.
drill, but also for logical reasoning, which you mentioned as being a problem area. Use the Socratic review method I outlined in the course,
Yeah.
where your task is really to figure out where your misunderstanding stemmed from: stimulus, question stem, and answer choices. Any of those areas, potentially multiple, and noticing all the little tricks and traps they lay. And so I go into that more in depth in the course, but actually writing out and articulating your review process is going to be the biggest game changer.
Okay. Is there any other advice you have, like for reading comprehension, other than like doing practice passages? Is there anything else I can do?
There's no reason to ever go beyond actual LSAT material, especially if you're taking the LSAT in only 1 month.
Yeah.
So I would stick with the actual reading comp passages, but I also have drill recommendations in the course about reading comp specifically, helping you figure out what level of note taking makes the most sense for you.
Yeah.
Folks often do too much in terms of detailed note taking when
Mhm.
the time constraint doesn't allow for too much. So what's your current inclination as far as note taking is concerned?
Very brief summaries, just like this is what this person said, or this was opposed to that, and then like the final paragraph is like bring those 2 arguments together, just like 3 or 4 words to what the paragraph said, and then so you can see the strain, like where like what the argument is in the passage. So that's
Is
what I
that is
do
that
right.
working for you?
It is, yeah, but then like I think I get caught up in the details still. Like I need to filter out like I need to be able to recognize what information I need to retain and what I don't, because I retain like unnecessary information and then like get confused with that. So I need to like focus on what's important, but like I need to be able to tell what is and what isn't to be able to
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I go over that in the course. I have some master classes on reading comp, and I'm also doing
Yeah.
reading comp deep dives where we
Yeah.
spend an entire hour just going over one passage,
Yeah.
not even doing all the questions, just discussing the passage word by word, sentence by sentence, line by line. And so I've taught a couple already, and I've got another one coming up tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And so definitely attend that if you want to see
Yeah.
me walking through reading comp and figuring out what is important to focus on and what can you kind of gloss over, flag where it is, and come back later when you need to, but you don't need to get all invested up front in that part.
Okay. But yeah, I think also I just need to focus on I'm terrible at logic games. Like I've done so much practice. Like for the August LSAT, I spent like 4 months doing logic games. I don't understand. Like I just can't. Like the timing is like I take a lot of time to see things, and like it'll be there. Like when I see the answer, I'll look at my diagram and be like, it was right there. And I wasn't able to pick up on it. So I guess like you said, like doing the drills will definitely help.
Do you ever find yourself misreading rules in games?
Um yeah, I do. Or like I'll miss a rule, and then like when I look at the answers, I'd be like, I completely forgot about that rule, which would have made things a lot easier. Or like
Gotcha.
also my like way of doing it is very messy, which I realized I need to fix, because like it's all over the page. Like I need to like make the diagram and then move to the next question, make a diagram, but it'll just be like all over the place. I'll like get something wrong and like scratch it out, but then like that will be important for later. So like I need to fix how my diagrams are on the page.
Gotcha. Okay. I actually take a photo of one of my diagrams and show it in the games masterclass, the first one. So take a look at my logic games masterclass in the course where I show you how I would lay it out on an actual piece of scratch paper. But
Yeah.
as for your issue of potentially forgetting a rule, what if you, as a drill, you also simply memorized the rules and
Yeah.
then rewrote them without looking?
Yeah.
Test your short-term working memory and build it up. Obviously, there are natural limits we hit, and
Yeah.
logic games and the LSAT as a whole is meant to push past those. But there are only typically 3 to 5 rules for a game.
Yeah.
So the indented ones at least. And so if you just wrote them out, diagrammed them, symbolized them, and then flipped over the page or created a new page and rewrote as many as you could you get them all over time?
Yeah, so like yesterday I did one, and basically it was like, oh, N is in slot 3, and like I put it there, but then when I like did a few questions later, like 4 questions later, I like forgot that N was in 3. So then I like drew it out, I mapped it out without N being there, and that obviously turned out to be wrong because like it was a thing that was required for the rest of it to fall into place, and I forgot about that. So I need to like keep that in mind. But I guess that comes from like where you put it on the sheet and like how neatly it's done, because I like keep scratching out things, which I think I shouldn't do.
Yes, you've got to keep it neatly and cleanly organized to the point where you could understand it a week or two later and a month or two later without having done it in between. So are your notes comprehensible to you yourself? They don't need to be comprehensible to anybody else, but you've got to be able to understand them, and keeping it organized is part of that. Writing neatly is part of that. And something like N on 3, obviously it's best if you can commit it to your working memory and keep it in there. But if you also have a side of the page where all the rules are listed very neatly that you can just refer back to whenever necessary, that'll help you make sure you're not missing anything.
And would you recommend that you do a diagram for each question, or like just go back to the old diagram and work around that one?
For local questions, I would make new diagrams each time. Otherwise, it gets messy and then you're losing the benefit of your previous work. So any new local if question where you're not already using previous work alone, I would draw a new diagram. And that could be a minimal one. You don't need to number all the slots every single time.
Yeah.
But you want to at least draw the 7 slots and insert whatever the local situation is for that particular question.
All right. Okay. And are you going to be doing any like sessions, like the study sessions that you've been doing, any of those for logic games?
Yeah, I've got some on the schedule. The very first activity in the course, I list all the upcoming classes for the next month, but I'm constantly adding more all the time, and I switch things around occasionally based on student requests. So I will be doing a logic games one coming up. In the meantime, I have the vast majority of logic games explained, not even inside the course, available for free on the YouTube channel. And I've got more of the strategy stuff like the master classes inside the course. So make sure you're using all of it.
All right. Sounds good. So drills for making inferences, and then 2 exams a week, and then in-depth review of those. Correct.
There's also logical reasoning, Socratic review method, reviewing the reading comp master classes and deep dives in the course, and even just 1 minute of mindfulness meditation between now and 8 tonight.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Steve. That's really helpful.
My pleasure, of course. I'll see you in class soon. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.